students, welcome to ACC 202 Milestone 1. Now, what you're looking at your screen is the Operational Cost Data Appendix. This information is found on Module 2 of your Brightspace. Now, this is the information that you're going to be using to fill out the worksheet that you're going to complete, and I'm going to share with you in a minute. Now, the only thing is I wanted to illustrate that the information that you will be utilizing to come up with the figures is from the Operational Cost Data Appendix for milestone 1. Okay, you don't make up the numbers. The numbers are coming from this information being provided to you. Now you're going to print this out or have this handy as you complete the worksheet. Okay, the worksheet is also provided to you. Download it, save it in a place where you can easily locate it. Now, as you can see, there are several tabs of different colors. The first milestone, which we're going to be completing in Module 2, will be Milestone 1. We're going to be completing 2 tabs. Then later on in the semester, let me see, in Milestone 1, and then Milestone 2 will be covered in Module 4. And then Milestone 3 is going to be covered in Module 5. Okay, so Module 2, Module 4, and Module 5 is when you're going to be completing the milestone. Now, the information from Milestone 1 will flow into Milestone 2. The information from Milestone 1 and 2 will flow into Milestone 3. So if the information is incorrect in Milestone 1, everything else will be wrong. So you need to make sure that even after I issue you a grade, you make sure that you make the necessary revisions before you begin working on the following milestone to ensure that you have the correct data so you can begin with the correct figures and you can earn a good grade and get the correct amounts. Okay, so the first tab is fairly easy. You are provided with a whole bunch of items and you have to classify them accordingly. The fixed and variable information has already been provided to you, so you don't have to worry about that. So you just make your selection if that item is a direct material, direct labor, overhead, or period cost. Now, you can only select one per item, okay? One categorization per item, okay? So once you've done this, then you can move on to the variable and fixed cost calculation, okay? So this is very important because this is going to drive the information on your milestone 2. We have to calculate the total variable cost and the total fixed cost per item. So we are selling 3 types of items. We have a business and we're selling collars, leashes, and harnesses. So we have to figure out, using the information provided, this information right here, you have to calculate those amounts. Now, I am not here to show you how to calculate the amounts that you need to figure out. What I'm here to show you is how I need that information shown on your spreadsheet, because every semester students struggle understanding what it means to include formulas. Okay? Now, if you open up the file, it already has some numbers provided to you. Okay? I've given you some examples provided. I just wanted to show you that is how I want you to show me your work. For example, for collars, we have to calculate the variable cost for high tensile strength nylon webbing that we're using to produce our collars, and I have a $4 figure calculated there. That is correct. Okay, now how did I calculate that? If we look at the formula bar, I've got the formula. Okay, 12 divided by 3. Now that is coming from the information here, okay? So we need to be able to locate the information and apply it to the table over here, okay? So I calculated $4 using that formula, okay? For the collars maker salary, oh, sorry about that. If we look at the cell, I've got my formula here, okay? That is what I mean by showing me your work, okay? I need to see what you multiplied, what you divided, what you added, what you subtracted to get that number, okay? So when I click on that cell and I look at my formula bar, I can see your calculation there. Okay? That is what I mean. Every cell needs to have a formula entered. Okay? I encourage students to use the round function. That way, you're not off on your rounding. Okay? I believe it's milestone 2. It has specific, yes, it is milestone 2. It has specific instructions on milestone 2 to use the round up function because we're rounding up. If not, for milestone 1, there is really no requirement, but I encourage you to use the round function. But anyways, this is where I show my formula. 550 divided by 3, and I'm rounding to 2 decimal places, okay? We always want to round to 2 decimal places. So the formula here is 500 divided by 3. My round function is telling me I'm going to round to 2 decimal places, okay? So that's for my loan payment, okay? For my salary to self, if I click on the cell with the number, I got 166.67. If we look here, I have a round 500 divided by 3, and I'm rounding to 2 decimal places, okay? So on the loan payment, it's 550 divided by 3. On the salary, it's 500 divided by 3, okay? So each of your cells needs to include a formula. That way, when I click on the cell and then I look at the formula bar, I can see your formula. That is required, okay? So all of your numbers should have a formula. Once you finish, let's say, for example, I've calculated all of these amounts. I'm going to enter a formula here to sum these amounts right here, okay? Now, for purposes of this illustration, I'm going to make up numbers. These are not coming from the table. This is just to show you what it will look like, okay? So I'm just making up numbers, okay? I'm going to make up $3, $1.25, and then 75 cents. These are made up numbers, okay? So if you see, my formula automatically updates because it's the sum of all of these numbers right here, okay? Remember, each of the cells needs to have a formula. So then that would have to be, let's say, 5 divided by 3, okay? And that gives me that. The buckles, it would be 25 cents times 8, okay? Whatever the case might be. So you have to figure out what the formula is. These are just examples. These are not correct. I don't want you to do what I'm doing. I'm just making up numbers, okay? So you will enter a formula, and then the formula will appear, okay? So you get the total down here. Now, when you are getting ready to work on milestone 2, you're going to be using the data from milestone 1. Obviously, all of this is going to be filled out. Okay, there's 3 sections. 1 section for collars, 1 for leashes, and 1 for harnesses. You're going to have to get the total for both. Okay? So you do sum, you add all of those numbers, and it gives you a total. Okay? Obviously, I'm missing numbers there. You're going to fill everything in. Okay? So let's just assume that we are done with collars. Okay? And let's assume that we are going to start working on milestone 2, okay? I asked for 2 things. I asked for formulas. Formulas are directly entered into a cell and they are calculated fields. Okay, so these numbers you are calculating, okay? And where are we getting the numbers to calculate? We are getting those numbers from the data appendixes being provided. Okay, so we have to read this information and then figure out what is it that I have to do. Okay, so you're going to use this information to create this. Now, I asked for 2 things, for formulas and for cell references. In milestone 1, we don't have any cell references, okay, because all of these should be calculated figures. Now, when we get to milestone 2, you have to complete this part, okay? Now, it's asking you for a sales price per unit that is being provided in the data appendix. But the variable cost per unit, that number is going to be coming from this spreadsheet over here, okay? Variable cost per unit. So if we're looking at colors and we're looking for our variable costs, I want to get a cell reference. To get a cell reference, all you have to do is enter an equal sign, go to the tab where the information is located, select the cell that you want the information to reflect. In this case, we want the total variable cost per colors, okay? And then click enter, okay? And if you see, it brought over the 1167. When I click on it, it tells me that I got this information from my variable and fixed cost tab, cell B19, okay? That is what I mean by a cell reference. If it's coming from another tab, all you have to do, let's do it once again, you do equal sign, go to the tab that the information is located, select the specific cell that you want to show, click enter, and the number flows in. And when I click on it, I can see that you included the cell reference where that information is coming from, okay? So all of that is what I'm needing when you are preparing your milestone submissions. I noted that I needed formulas and cell references. If information is coming from another tab or another cell, reference it. You know, and by referencing, I mean just do equal sign, select the cell, and click enter, and it will appear where the information is coming from. If it's a calculated field, all of the items need to have a formula, okay? And when you open your blank milestone project, you're going to have some examples, as I noted. I provided you with some examples so you can see how, or the expectation of how the formulas should be entered, okay? So please make sure that you fill it out correctly using the information in the data appendix, okay? And if you have any questions as you are working the project as to, you know, I'm still not very clear about what does she mean by formulas or what is it that she's wanting, please send me an email message and I will be more than glad to assist you with that, okay? What's going to happen is you're going to submit your milestone 1 submission. I will grade it and I'll send it back with notations of the items that need to be revised, okay? I will not give you the answers. You need to go back and revise your work. Now, let's say, for example, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be highlighting, okay? I'm going to say that number, that number, that number are incorrect, okay? So I'm going to put a note, items in yellow need to be corrected, okay? So all of the items that are in yellow are wrong. You need to go back and fix it. You go back and you correct your errors. And what do? How do you know if they're correct? What you can do is you can send me an email. Dr. Mercado, I have made my corrections to milestone 1, but before I begin working on milestone 2, can you please check my work and make sure that my corrections are correct and accurate? I will be more than glad to review your revisions. Just make a note that your revisions will not affect your final grade, okay? Your grade will remain as is, even if you make the corrections. The corrections are needed so you can be able to correctly calculate the next part of the milestone assignment, okay? So just I wanted to make that clear. I will notate the items that are incorrect. You can revise them. And if you feel comfortable with what you did, you are understanding things better, then you don't have to send it to me. But if you want to send it to me, you are more than welcome to email it to me. I will review, provide you with feedback if it's correct or not correct, and then you can move on to your next milestone. But your grade will not be changed, okay? So please make sure that you read over the announcements posted. I've provided you with some information, some details, some explanations of what is expected for the milestone project. This is an ongoing project. Like I said, it's 3 parts, milestone 1, 2, and 3. And whatever, it's a cumulative project. Once you complete milestone 1, 2, and 3, you will be using the data from the 3 milestones to complete your investor report in module number 7. So As you are working these assignments, make sure that you read the information, that you understand what is happening in the business, because later on in the semester, you are going to have to prepare an investor report highlighting, emphasizing all of the information for the operations of this business. Okay, so that is basically it. Just remember, every cell should have a formula. Okay, and if you are obtaining information from another source, another tab, make sure that you include a cell reference. Okay, so those are the things that I wanted to highlight in this video. Okay? I hope you have a wonderful and productive rest of your week, and until next time, bye-bye.